Hello and welcome to the AV Forum's 4Ks and Blu-rays podcast for January 2024. Tonight I am joined by Mark Costello.
Happy New Year!
You can't say it anymore. I've
Well,
decided.
no, I'm going to. No, I'm going to. Can't stop me.
And somewhere in the far, far background, so small you can't yet see him, but he will get bigger, is Simon Crust. He's going to join us as a special exclusive guest star.
Fashionably late as ever.
Yes, indeed. The first movies podcast of the year sees a slight tweak to our format. We're going to give much of what we gave before, with less of a focus on reviews. You can go to the site and see those, and more of a focus on giving you 10 titles, 10 choice picks on disc that you can check out. It's not completely tied down to January, but it's kind of what to look out for in January. We get a few US discs in late, and there's always a bit of overlap. But what we've looked at this month, which we recommend to you guys.
Absolutely.
We're also going to run through the usual highlights on the competitions and what's coming soon. Plus, we're going to have our theme, which is our carry on from what we were doing last year. Tonight's theme is going to be, as we're sort of setting the stage for podcasts going forward, a state of play of the physical media at the moment after 2023, what 2024 we think is going to look like, boutique labels and old restorations and new Cameron restorations, all that juicy controversy to come. So let's have a look at what we have to start with. Let's do a few competitions. Well, it's changed a lot since last year. We've had a number of new patrons join. So thank you very much to David, John Gottwald, Ben Ackerman, Saab Unleashed, Nick, Arjun Verdi, and Sean McGreevy.
Welcome.
I'm sure you'll all, if not already, win some juicy prizes. Yeah. And thank you for buying us a coffee. Someone, I'm not sure whether that's a
I'm
username.
sure that is a username, Kaz.
Deads, and
Dead.
Neil 007. Thank you particularly, Neil, for giving me a name
Cheers,
I could
peoples.
read out. So our 10 recommendations in reverse 10 order. I mean, Mark's going to chip in and tell me I was wrong to even include the creator, but number 10's a cheat, and it doesn't represent being the least on our list. It's Thelma and Louise from Criterion. The reason why it slots in at number 10 is because it's already been out and reviewed on the US disc, and I'm a little bit moody about UK having so much catch up. Great disc, great film. It's on UK shores for those who didn't do the wise thing, which was just to import it like a year ago. But that's in our number 10. Number 9 is High Tension, Hot Tension, or Switchblade Romance.
Switchblade Romance. Come on, it's punny and it's funny.
Funny and it's funny. A juicy title from Second Sight.
Yeah, Second Sight carrying on like they did last year. Great restoration, lovely and organic. It looks far better than it probably ever should. It even manages to make that ridiculous twist in the film that much more palatable.
What twist? There wasn't a twist, was there?
I'm not going to say anything. Just look, Kaz, I've made peace with it. It's about time you did.
I will revisit the film and come out of it going, it wasn't so bad. But
revisit it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it so much. Yeah. Unlike how you feel about The Creator, which took our number 8 spot, The Creator in 4K from Disney. It's come out 2 days before The Creator landed on Disney Plus for free, in inverted commas, with 4K Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. So, I mean, if you're on the fence about it, you're probably just going to whack it on Disney Plus. I found it utterly derivative, but still decent sci-fi and impressively low budget for what it was. Whereas Mark,
I found it utterly derivative and painfully so. I'm a story guy. You know, it looked pretty, it looked great, but the story, no, not for me. I tried, I really tried,
Yeah.
but I can't get over just how painfully dull and banal the whole story was.
Well, if you're on the fence, it's also on Disney Plus.
Check it out there,
but
kids.
one thing most people will generally agree on is that we do need more original sci-fi flicks.
Yeah, but the fact that that was called original makes me laugh somewhat.
I know, but yeah, I mean,
Anyway,
still.
If I can make peace with Haute Tension's twist, I can make peace with the creator. I just might need 20 years to I get
to
there.
do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Number 7 is
Moving on.
Part of Mark's top 10 Blu-rays of January list. It's his number 2 choice on that list, which is Cult Spaghetti Westerns box set from Pulp Films.
Yeah, this was a weird one. When it first dropped, I thought this is all a bit strange. You've got 3 films in here. You've got Sergio Corbucci's first and classic Django, which feels a really strange addition because it just got a brand new standalone 4K release from the same label. So to see it down res to 1080p and included here felt a bit odd. You've also got Damiano Damiani's ultra political Zapata, A Bullet for the General. And you've also got a very strange, trippy Kioma from Enzo G. Castellari. Both films I've never heard of. Both films absolutely brilliant for very different reasons. They are on the fringes of the genre, but together with Django, if you don't own Django, it's a brilliant triptych of spaghetti westerns. So highly recommended.
Nice. And number 6 was his number 1 choice on his Blu-rays, which is I, the Executioner.
The Executioner. This is a really dark, noirish procedural that really gets under the skin of the more seamier side of Japanese sexual politics and agendas. I'm not going to spoil it. The twist is the reveal of the reasons behind why this strange man is murdering his way through a group of women in 60s Japan. Transgressive and progressive, it still is. It's highly worth seeking out if you are fans of the noirish side of things. Yeah, really good release. Really good.
Nice. That's from Radiance Films. And our 5 top titles are all classic films restored in 4K. Hey, we have a Tom.
Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello.
This is the this is like the guest star who isn't in the credits that like pops in, you know, like when, I don't know, Chris Evans pops up in Thor Dark World or something like that. You know, it's like yeah,
he's exactly like Chris Evans. That's just what I was thinking, Kaz.
I do look quite a lot like Chris Evans.
Where were you when Mark was utterly deriding the creator?
He was secretly cheering me on.
You just in the background.
I'm not going to deride it. It's like I quite enjoyed it. I don't hate it like Mark hates it.
Yeah, nobody does. Nobody does. We're in our last 5 of the top 5 Blu-rays and 4Ks for January. We got to Mean Streets. I was just pointing out that'll feed into our chat later. Basically, our top 5 are all classic films released in 4K. None of them new releases. New releases, but like none of them new films. So at number 5, I've got Second Sight's Mean Streets in 4K, which I personally really love revisiting. That's like an early Scorsese and a breakthrough for, I mean, all of them, Scorsese, Keitel, and De Niro, of course, who's on stealing form. And another tremendous job from Second Sight, who did like did some work to compete with Criterion's US release. You guys like Mean Streets?
Yeah, I'd go for it, Mark.
No, just because I'm waiting for mine. Unfortunately, mine's lumped in with the Second Sight's Inside, so I've got to wait a few minutes for mine to arrive, unfortunately. But yeah, can't wait for this. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's like a good old-fashioned mission statement for everything that Scorsese was going to do from then on, which is great.
On a 0 budget.
Yeah.
And here's the official guest star. It's Simon Crust.
Have you been
Yes.
talking about me?
We were saying you were very small, which is why people couldn't see you.
Oh, yeah, well,
and that
okay.
over time you would get bigger until people.
Until suddenly,
Yes, there.
boing. Hello, everybody.
We're,
Sorry,
we're-
I'm late.
Hello, Simon.
It's okay. We were just running through our top 10, and we got to Point Break at number 4, which is a US release, not January at all, but we reviewed it in January. Shout Select. I really loved watching Point Break again. And
Who doesn't, Kaz?
yes,
Who
I
doesn't?
know. Well,
Which
it
Point
is.
Break are you talking about?
Well, there's only one.
Simon.
I will say the words "there's only one" because I don't know whether I ever
Surely
made
that's
it
Highlander.
through. Yeah, I don't think I ever made it through the remake, but if I did, I've blocked out most of it.
I did. It was terrible.
I'm sure I saw a bit where they were like body gliding through some mountains.
Stop talking about it. Don't give it any more air.
Yeah, okay. Number 3, Simon reviewed Peeping Tom.
I did.
I say reviewed. The review is not live yet, but that's coming from Studiocanal at the end of the month. And absolute flaming top scores from Simon on this one.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. The film itself is absolutely stunning. The transfer is magnificent. The sound is what you would expect from a 2-channel mono. Boatload of extras. Oh, great stuff.
Cannot wait.
But
Great stuff.
I still trumped it with Carrie at number 2.
Oh,
Arrow. Yes.
Yeah, another top-notch transfer.
Yes,
awesome film. Springboard for a load of talent there from director through the stars. Great sound. Fantastic disc. Yep, brilliant.
But I kind of, again, I cheated. I put Young Guns in at number 1 just because
Because you're the boss, Kaz.
I mean, so
Boss.
I don't even know whether this was out January. This was another one which might have been fudged from December. It came out in the US, took a while to land. The thing about Young Guns, it doesn't in any way deserve to be the top spot of anyone's list. But look, I went into.
It's a great film. Do you have the disc, Mark?
I do not.
Oh, yo!
I know. Look. I will.
Time. Why do we even get you on this thing?
You do need it. I mean, the reality is,
I will get it. I will get it.
I picked it up and I went, no, this is going to be so cheesy and nowhere near as good as I vaguely remembered it. No, hang on. And then I pressed play, and the opening credits alone, with the guitar and the really super stylized introduction of all the characters, and then for no reason they start shooting at the screen.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'd forgotten all about it.
Hairs on end. I was utterly in there. I mean, yeah, I loved it.
I'd forgotten all about it. How good it was, actually.
I'm holding out
for the tosh, of course, but it's brilliant.
I'm holding out for the Young Guns 1 and 2 4K box set. That's what I'm really waiting for.
You say that, and I'm digressing when I said I'd cut it short, but like in researching the review, yes, I do that sometimes, all you listeners. In researching the review,
he researches it by reading another website.
I think, yeah, I'm reading other better reviews. Yes. ChatGPT. No, I didn't have the business subscription when I was writing it, unfortunately. I found out that it's regarded as one of the more historically accurate, both of them.
Weirdly,
like really weird, like down to the order in which people get shot and where they get shot. Really odd facts that they kept to. And then in the second movie, the whole idea of this guy who still existed years later who claimed to be Billy is all based on a real guy. The only thing is they completely ruined the history of
they made everything else up in Young Guns too.
Yeah, because ironically they had the right story, but the cast had got too big for the film, and they were all like, we don't want to be in this very long, so can you do something about our characters' fates? So it was, but other than that, they were pretty nails on history, which is weird. I never thought that of Young Guns, but yeah, that's our recommendations.
Great top 10. Great top 10 there.
Nothing to quibble with. Certainly not the ordering of them.
It's just 10 recommendations. I know you'd have had Creator at the top, Tom, don't worry. What's coming soon, Mark? Let's do that, and then we can have our discussion.
Right. Well, it feels more than a minute since we last talked about all the new shiny 4K releases that were incoming. So what have we got? Well, Criterion in the US have announced their April titles, one of which is one I think we've all been waiting for. La Haine, great film. That black and white is gonna look amazing if they get it right. The second one, Picnic at Hanging Rock. Ooh, could be much more interesting because it's likely to use the same 4K restoration that Second Sight used last year. I personally thought it was brilliant. The rest of the internet absolutely hated it. Ooh, DNR and lots of yellow. What does Peter Weir know about films? All that good stuff. So look forward to plenty of that on US forums come April. Second Sight have announced more 4K releases, their usual limited and standard editions of both Green Book and...
Not Green Book!
Green Street, Green
Mean Street,
Green everything other than Green Room. That's right.
Oh man, can you imagine Green Book but with more box cutters? That'll be.
Do you know what? I'd like to think that was my own Ron Burgundy, but I actually wrote Green Book. That's not even an excuse. So it is actually. Do you know what? I want a double bill. I want a Green Book and Green Room. No, it is, everyone, dear listeners, Green Room and Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor for March the 12th. Interesting titles there. Two I am not very interested in.
That's crazy, Mark. I love both of those movies. They're so good.
Yeah, so do I, but I don't need lavish new Second Sight 4K editions of them. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Indicators train. Hang on. Look, you're all over my joke. I've got a very good joke all lined up, and you're not.
It's a terrible joke.
Okay. We're going to start again. Indicators train keeps a rolling. Rolling. That's rolling, but it's Jean Rollin. No. Indicators train Green Book. Indicators train keeps a rolling. Yes, with their March announcements, the not provocative sounding at all, the nude vampire and the demoniacs. I don't know. Both more Jean Rollin films. Yeah. Previous ones look very, very good. Hopefully, these two will as well. Now, whilst Arrow get their collective crap together and finally pull their fingers out and get our delayed Conan sets out. Where are they, Arrow? Come on, we're all waiting. They are releasing diet versions of last year's superb Hellraiser and Psycho box sets in February. So the very strangely named Hellraiser Tetralogy. Don't know why they couldn't use the word quartet, but either way. The Hellraiser Tetralogy loses all the sexy off-disc features in a slim down set, while Psycho loses the first film entirely and is just 2, 3, and 4. However, they're also releasing standard editions of the first Ju-On and Barber's Brilliant Blood and Black Lace in 4K at the end of this month. Moving over to the States, Vinegar Syndrome have announced one of their absolutely amazing, handsome magnet box VSUs for Walter Hill's Backwoods Gothic action as Southern Comfort. I pre-ordered that. I can't wait for mine to arrive shortly. But in great 1080p news, everyone, they've also announced a Blu-ray from a new 4K restoration on Blu-ray of John Dahl's Ace Noir Red Rock West. That should be coming out. I think it's not the end of this month, it's beginning of next month.
Or just give me the 4K. Anyway.
I don't know why. And finally, if all those boutique labels are not up your streets, and if so, really are listening to the wrong podcast.
Not order Aquaman. I mean, come on.
Well, look, come on. For all you mainstream fans out there, yes, Aquaman's disastrous second outing is coming to disc on March the 12th in the US, so expect it around the same time here. However, in better news, Universal are pulling Charlie Sheen's baseball classic Major League out of their backside. That's coming on April the 12th. And even better news, the absolutely amazing Ed Norton, Richard Gere schizo thriller Primal Fear is coming from Paramount on March 26th. Is it going to look great? Is it going to look crap? Place your bets here now. That's your lot for upcoming 4K and a little bit of 1080p news.
Which kind of gives us our into physical media, nudging at Paramount and talking about yellows and lavish sets coming out. Mark's extensively done research into the current state of the nation, so he's gonna take us through how he thinks things will go down, and we're gonna laugh at him.
Well, I expect nothing less, quite frankly. I mean, what prompted this really was the quite surprising news that Eureka, our very own, very British boutique label Eureka, the last man standing, have gone US. They are going stateside. They are also releasing discs directly into the States. And considering that they're following in the footsteps of Arrow, 88 Films, and Radiance, what's interesting is we've also got some labels coming the other way. Now, granted, it's Severin. It's not your Shouts or anyone decent like that. It's Severin. And their first 4K UKs coming our way are Nightmares in a Damaged Brain and Bad Biology. So I don't quite think it's an equal, exchange here. But either way, what's really interesting about this is I think this is signaling an end to the regionalization of a lot of these boutiques, and I think that's a good thing, because I think what it's going to mean is hopefully we can start to see an end of the horribly expensive importing game. But it's
interesting you say that. I'm sorry to interrupt, Mark.
No.
It's interesting you say that, because I like the idea of this, but I feel having whacked out the best part of 50 quid to import what was it, the Raid from Lionsgate from the US. I'm sitting here going, Lionsgate release in the UK. So the issue I have with this is that it feels like, yeah, sure, Eureka's going to the US and Severin's coming to the UK. Eureka are going to release all the stuff they've already released in the UK on 4K that people in the US probably imported if they were minded to, because they liked the film, just like I imported the Raid because I like the film. And sure, in a year or two, maybe it'll appear Thelma and Louise style. But the disparity, and it's a frustrating one, is this is the same label with the same transfer and the same disc, because it's not region locked. Why on earth can't they do day and date both countries? That is the end of the horrible business of importing, because the reality is importing is only for us like niche fans. Importing isn't for Joe who doesn't really care and probably will pick up Aquaman from HMV.
You idiot, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. Importing is for people who go, oh yes, I really love the Raid and I'd like to see that, and I don't want to wait an arbitrary amount of time to see if it appears in this country. So that's the difficulty I have with this, not to rain on your parade.
No, well, I think part of the issue that you've got there, Kaz, is the thorny issue of international rights. So the Raid is not released by Lionsgate in the UK. It is released by Momentum Pictures. So that I get your point. I get your point.
I agree with that. Yeah. Sure. Then in which case, this is just a horrible, thorny realm of yes, we can release in both territories, but it's not going to make your life particularly easy.
No, you're absolutely right. I think there's always going to be that. I mean, Criterion were the poster boy of this, weren't they? They started releasing all their Blu-rays over in the States. We all imported them, and then they go and start releasing them over here at half the price. We've already bought it. But I don't think there's any way around that. I think what's so good about it, and this is leading on to one of the big trends from last year, is that there is so much stuff now coming from them that I think unless you are one of those people who are absolutely desperate, I have to have it on release day, I think there is plenty of stuff to keep you going until those legacy releases, if you like, slowly start to make their way into relative territories.
Not just that, but in competition with that, of course, you have more and more of the services like the Criterion channel, the Arrow channel, that they are not shooting themselves in the foot, but they are spreading themselves thinner in order to reach more people with less money. But I suppose this is something that we're going to come to in a minute. Is it like are we ringing like the bell for the end of physical media, or
how dare you? How dare you come here and talk about the end of physical media.
Does Tom even own a disc player? When was the last disc? Anyway, no.
Spider-Man this weekend. Shut up.
Didn't
Nice.
Tom just order
Nice.
one of these ridiculous sets?
Yes, absolutely.
Just like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And
I
couldn't
did.
wait. It's a couldn't wait set. Have you?
I
both
feel like
ordered
an idiot
Conan?
for doing so, but I did.
Which set?
Possessor.
Oh.
Love that movie.
So, I mean, I think. Do you know what? We jumping all over the agenda, but I'm going to come back to that point because I think that's a really interesting point. I think this notion of, I think some of the things we've seen across our forums, across other forums, is last year there was real, partisan discussion about physical media and digital, and it was always digital, never touch, wouldn't even touch that with yours, kind of thing. And I think one of the things that I don't understand is I feel like I'm the only person who's approaching both as I'm not a format fan, I am a film fan. I almost don't care. I mean, I care for my favorite films. And this is how I think the way that most people view it is you will always spend the exorbitant money on the brand new shiny mega releases for your favorite films. However, I think back to the days when Arrow just started, for example, and there was a lot of trash to pieces, shall we say, those cult titles, which I'd just about heard of, but I'd never seen. Not available anywhere else. The only way for me to see them is to drop 15 quid on a new Blu-ray. Okay, I'll drop 15 quid on a new Blu-ray because I'm a film fan. I want to see the film. Now, half of those films are absolutely brilliant. Half of them are utter garbage. And I've wasted 15 quid a release on utter garbage. Now, you can always say, well, trade it in. Well, all right, I get that. But this is where, to me, the current state of digital media comes in. And I'm not necessarily talking about streaming, I'm talking about digital purchases. Arrow are very good at this, as are a number of the other boutique labels. They will release their disc releases in very, very slimmed down on digital for, say, 3 quid.
Yeah, $2.99 on
treat
the
it as
sale.
a taster.
Yeah.
Treat it as treat it as if you were going to Blockbuster and renting it. I'll drop $2.99, so I own it instead of renting it. But at $2.99, it's the same price as if you were renting it. If it's good, then I'll go away and I'll go drop 15, 20 quid on the fully loaded edition. If it's not, I've spent 3 quid. Now, for me, the film's getting seen. Someone is putting money in Arrow's coffers, and ultimately for me, I see that is the win-win for us film fans. And for me, what I want to see is I want to see more people embracing digital to exist alongside the physical media libraries. The Creator is a very good one, a very good example of streaming doing that. A lot of people saying, well, I'm interested in Creator, I'll check it out on Disney Plus. Now, half of those people will check it out and go, it's a bag of spanners. I'm glad I didn't spend any money on it. Other people go, that was amazing. I'm going to go buy the disc.
That actually happened.
I know.
I mean, it was nice to read. Yeah, there's a couple of people who actually went and bought the 4K disc. And I was like, maybe it's not so bad it's on Disney.
There's also the third group of people who will say that's a bag of spanners, but I didn't see it in the right quality, so I will now go and buy the 4K.
So one of the things that I'm going to continue to do that, and I'm going to see my digital library grow, but I'm also going to see we're getting so many new boutique releases coming along for old films, and we're getting newer versions, and I don't see the threat to physical media coming from that. And I'd be looking for more people to almost, come on in and join me in the water. It's cool.
I mean, 23 was a big year for digital for me because I really tried to do a mark and go, look, if it's a film I really love, I'll fork out the money and get it on 4K. And if it's Aquaman 2, I'm just gonna wait for it. And
I think, well, this is it though, isn't it? Because Mark, everything you said was spot on. I completely agree with everything you said, and except the very last thing, which is that it won't affect physical media. And I think what it will do is it will affect vanilla physical media. And I think what we might end up seeing as a result of this is less stuff being released as like a bog standard DVD or even Blu-ray, and releasing it to streaming. And like you say, for the people who like that movie, than them going to search it out in all its glory, all of the the Dolby Vision, the Dolby Atmos, all of the paper tat that you get in a box. And it seems not necessarily inevitable, but it definitely seems that that's the direction that most services are pushing people in. And as you brought up, the Creator is the prime example of that, because they say, here it is, do you like it? Now you could go buy it.
Perfect. Absolutely. And I think this comes on to one of the other things I noticed from last year. So last year was a bumper year for physical media. Spectacular releases, absolutely. But I think one of the one things that grated slightly is those ever creeping higher price points.
Yeah.
Now
they know we'll pay them.
No, I know, and we've had for years, haven't we?
Art cards.
Hey,
I love art cards, mate.
Don't mock the paper.
Fixed art cards. It used to be 4. I'll pay you that extra £20.
A lobby card. Get me a lobby card. I want one of those.
A key ring. Is that a carton of milk?
I don't even know why I bother, quite frankly. No. No, because remember the arguments that we used to have when 4K came out. It's like, why am I paying for an extra Blu-ray? Get rid of the Blu-ray and don't charge me, as much money. Right, let's be honest. The days of companies not charging you any more money is gone. What I want to say is, look, if you are creeping these price points, and Second Sight are a good one. I have a lot of time for Second Sight, but they're ultra expensive LEs that are coming out at the same time as their standard editions. For me, we're starting to see not enough value for the increased price point. So I'm saying, look, if you want to charge me 40 quid for a single release, give me 40 quid's worth of value. Right. And no, I don't mean 4 art cards and a folded poster.
Yeah, but have you not seen the box it comes in?
It's quite a sturdy
oversized box. It is.
In fairness, it's a sturdy box, Mark.
I think my son tried one of those boxes and it didn't fold at all.
Crust, come on. Just wade in with these heathens.
If you want to buy the standard release, you don't need to come here.
I can see both sides.
I see both sides. Get down off that brilliant fence, Simon.
Oh, he's too busy.
You love a sturdy box, admit it.
Whoa!
I stand it on.
Gatefold. Take your Amaray and be gone.
Tonight on Sturdy Box Watch. So that's my point. It is look, right. $24.99 is the new price point for your bog standard releases. Yeah. All right. I'd rather that be $19.99, but it is what it is. Everything's going up. 40 quid, and I'm looking at things like the dual mega box set that we got last year as opposed to the standard release, which was nothing of the... So it was an oversized box with a folded up poster and a few art cards, and it was 40 quid. That is not worth nearly double the price of the standard edition, which, considering everything on the disc, was exactly the same. So it's like, you want to charge me 40 quid labels, charge it me, but give me 40 quid's worth of value. Stick a magnet in there, stick a key ring, any of that.
A model of a pig, Mark. That's what you want.
I feel like everything you say is utterly correct, Mark, but I still see some of the box sets that I paid stupid money for, and I'm like, yeah, they saw me coming. And I'm kind of okay with that because if I wasn't, I wouldn't have got it.
Yes.
It's like I got Mean Streets as a review disc. Oh, I wasn't having that. I went straight out and ordered the one that comes in a stupid box that I probably won't open because I've already seen the disc.
My Bruce Lee set is still in its cellophane.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it's just the way it works. So I agree with everything you're saying. I don't think the price is coming down. Yeah. I'll take the hit if it keeps physical media going that little bit longer, and it means I get Drive in a ridiculous box set the size of one of my early games consoles. Sure.
Definitely. So to wrap up then, kids, what do you guys want from physical media for next year? Or sorry, this year? Oh my god, it's 2024.
8K.
You what?
Less.
8K?
8K.
Word. What do you mean?
8K? I thought you said 8K. Like
I thought you said
8K.
Yeah. I want more weapons in my special editions.
Yeah.
I want 8K.
So go on, Tom. What do you mean by you want less?
for all I will like freely admit that I bought a stupid Tat box set, limited edition. Like, what a dummy! Like, I now want to be slipping into that mode of I am only gonna buy stuff I love. That's what I want, and I am like weirdly on board with the sort of like, I don't know, capitalist approach to trying to sell me stuff, right? I'm like, if you sell me the right stuff, I will buy it. But I am now not purposefully not in that mindset that you were describing, Mark, where in the past you would drop 15 quid on an Arrow Blu-ray to see if you liked it. And I did the same, and I did it many, many times. And I am just this year kind of ready to come out of that mode and to go a bit more digital, as like shocking as that may be to some. I currently own 4 movies digitally and the rest are physical. This year I think that's going to change, and I am only going to be buying the nonsense versions of movies that I already love.
And there'll be plenty of them.
I did the same thing, and I now own a bunch of movies digitally that I haven't watched. It's great. it's absolutely great.
Yeah, but a digital to watch pile is easier to ignore.
Yeah, did I buy that? Oh. What are you looking forward to, Simon? What do you want from your physical media?
What I want from physical media? Bigger boxes. I want a box I can sit in.
Yes.
We're back to boxes again.
Oh god, it's bad news.
Just wrong.
Yeah.
So the one thing I want to say is I think we got a glimpse of the future for physical media with Titanic, and obviously some of the big physical media releases that are coming in Q1 this year are the Cameron films. And let's be honest, for those of us that have seen those digital releases, we know what we're going to get on disc. Slightly better versions, but we know what we're going to get. And for film restoration, it's going to be really interesting to see, because obviously Cameron has gone against everything us physical media purists would want.
Yep.
He's degrained it, he's sharpened it, he's basically made it look like a brand new film. Now, to be fair to him, Titanic, bloody hell, it looked amazing. You know, Aliens, I hate to say it, looks pretty bloody good, but it doesn't look like the Aliens I grew up with. And it's going to be interesting to see if other restoration houses are going to start following suit with these new shiny toys, because we know some of them are happy, you know, splashing the old DNR around. Paramount's a fan, obviously. So it's going to be really interesting to see if these Cameron films mark a sea change in restorations.
I don't know. Perhaps there's a podcast for another time, but there's an amazing restoration feature on the Peeping Tom disc, when the guys talk about their love for the film and how it has to have a certain look, because if you take it too far, it doesn't look like the film that it was shown 60 years ago. And I talk about it quite a bit in the review. Eventually it will go live, because it's and I specifically mentioned Cameron as well and his tinkering.
I don't know whether it will go down that route, Mark. I agree. I mean, I think there'll be too many people who buck the notion that it could possibly look good. Even if Titanic looks amazing, even if people actually get the Cameron movies and look, these are really good, I think there'll be too many people who just go, yeah, it's not quite right, and
it's not right. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's 6 of one and half a dozen. It is an interesting tactic. The only way it would start becoming common practice is if, for some reason, his pipeline for doing it was much cheaper.
Well, it's just the question, really, isn't it, of who has the bigger market share? Is it like nerds like us who want their nostalgia bone tickled, or people who have just bought a brand spanking new TV and want to see the most that it can do? And I don't know the answer to that, which is the bigger market share, but I think that will dictate how things are restored in future. Like if Cameron's Cameron's discs are going to be a huge hit because people have been waiting donkey's years for them. But if they are like a critical as well as a commercial hit, then maybe that will have an effect on it. equally, if people go, this is why does it look like this? This is not what I wanted or how I remembered.
It's more likely to
AVX
come down to cost, isn't it?
AVF
The
scores
cost of
all
doing
of them
those
5 out of 10.
restorations, as opposed to just a full
True.
scan and clean up.
Yeah, the painstaking process of completely changing
it from what it was to what it is now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But it's going to be an interesting year
It is.
either way for physical media. And my God, what physical media, some of the stuff that we're getting, Point Break, Young Guns. I mean, some of the choice titles in our top 10 for the first month of the year. I mean, yes, it's a good time to be into 4K. It's a good time to be into physical media, not for the Aquaman 2, but for all of the rest that is coming out and looking pretty special. Very nice. I'm going to round this off with a quick look at some of our competitions. Talking physical media, I mean, we've talked about these discs, but you can win High Tension on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray in that limited edition box set. It's even got a picture of all of the art cards you can get with that. And Mean Streets 2. These are both second sight.
Mean Streets 2? When did that
Mean
sneak
Streets
out?
2, yeah. It's got Mean Streets and Mean Streets 2 in it.
The legacy sequel we never knew we wanted.
Well,
With
to be
art
fair,
cards.
you could
This
argue
one-
that Scorsese's been making Mean Streets legacy sequels ever since. But anyway.
This one looks like it's got 8 art cards. So I'm just saying that is
Good value.
That is really good. It is really good value.
If you win it for nothing, it's good value.
You can also get Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 on 4K. Really hilarious conversation with Warner on this one, actually, because they sent me the disc to review, which was a Blu-ray, and said, can you review the 4K? And it was and also do a competition. We've only got Blu-ray stock, but it's a 4K only release. I pointed out the inconsistencies in the whole statement, ended up with a 4K competition. We'll see if we get a Blu-ray somewhere down the line. But I think the confusing factor was that they seem to get confused by the fact it says 4K plus Blu-ray on the actual listing for this single release. And I had to point out that doesn't mean it's 2 separate releases. 4K plus Blu-ray on the same disc. On the same set, on the same disc. Yeah, there you go. It's a spinner. We've got Spaghetti Westerns box set, actually. There's some time left on that.
Quality.
And do we have any others from your top 10, Mark? Anne Rice's Mayfair Witches, which you absolutely love.
Just go watch that on iPlayer.
Okay, thanks for that. Don't even enter the competition. Plus, we got more coming up soon. There's more 4K releases. Actually, Peeping Tom, Simon's review is going to go up this week, and we've got a 4K competition for that. So plenty to look forward to, and I think that's about it for our first movies podcast of the year. Do let us know if there's anything we've not covered that you think you should check out. My thanks to the movies team. If you enjoyed the podcast, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel, plus hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when we publish our live streams, product reviews, and more. If you really like this podcast, then buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/avforums. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and bookmark avforums.com for the latest reviews, news, and videos. Plus, why not leave us a 5-star rating on whichever service you use, if they allow it, but only if you enjoyed the show. Thank you for watching and listening, and join us for another podcast extremely soon, because we're going to record another one any second now.
Any second now. Let's go.